gone, but not gone yet.
Do I get the mouse or do you?
Yes, you know.
Okay.
Hi, folks. Good to see you here. It's a Sunday again.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for y'all. Hi.
Hang on, I've got a cough drop in my mouth I've got to get rid of. There, sorry about that.
Okay, I can hear the sound from my computer in the other room, so obviously our sound is working.
Okay, is it not feeding back?
No,
Okay.
no, I can just barely hear it.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to click the thumbs up. I see we got 5 people watching already. Say something and say hey so we know who you are. Love to be able to greet you. Ah, Celtic
There we
Bear.
go.
Hi. Good to see you, Celtic.
Well, it looks like this one's going a little better than last week.
I think probably so, yeah. How was your week, Celtic? Ours was busy. And Grammy Karen, good afternoon.
Busy for her, not so much for me.
3,000%. Glad I caught you, Kate. My birthday. Happy birthday, 3,000%.
Happy birthday. Yes.
Hope you have a wonderful year, and I hope your day is perfect.
I have 2 kids born in October, one on the 6th and one on the 21st. So October is a big birthday month for
Farming
at least
our
for my
backyard.
family.
Hi, I'm glad you made it, Farming Our Backyard. It's really great to have you here. And you're welcome, 3,000%. Glad you came to visit on your birthday. Today's subject is what would you like to talk about? And I know it's a repeat of last week, but we had such a wonderful response to it last week, I thought maybe we should try it again. Hello, Laura Green Raven. Good to see you here. Baking damp chicken feed to prevent mold. Good idea. Next month's going to be busy for you, Celtic Bear. I'm glad to hear it. What's going on? And Tony Stevens
Tony.
Gardens. Good to see you, Tony. And Thrifty G.
Oh, Thrifty G from Rhode Island.
Thrifty G was my 1,500 member. Thrifty G.
Right on 1,500?
She was
Wow.
1,500.
Do you realize how special you are?
Doctors, Celtic Bear, you got doctor's appointments coming up? Is everything okay?
maybe
Can
she
we
wants to
pray
talk
for
about
you?
Let's talk about doctors, maybe.
Ah, that would be good too. Doctors is.
Boy, I could talk about doctors from now until the second Tuesday next week.
Tell them about our new doctor.
I'm pretty hard on doctors. I'm an old medic, and I have a fair bit of medical understanding, I guess you'd say. So it's not real easy for a doctor to really fluff me around and just, I do, oh, yes, doctor, whatever you say. I tend to argue, and I kind of have a fairly good idea of what's going on with me. And I have fired a lot of doctors.
Hi, Bandana.
That doesn't go very well. Doctors don't like that. They don't like to be fired. So, but anyway, our new doctor, Dr. Kellum, right out of the gate, I was very impressed. Good man. Listened to both of us because our appointments were essentially together. And he even found my COPD has gotten severe. And the medications that I've been on from my pulmonologist for the last few years, I was told were about the best there were. Well, when we went to see Dr. Kellum and telling him about my COPD, he asked me if I'd ever tried a drug called Trelegy. And I said no. And I've seen the ads for it on TV. So he decided to give me some samples. And I'll be darned if I didn't notice a substantial difference the next day. I started breathing easier. I had less wheezing, all that sort of stuff. So here I've been going to this pulmonologist for years. And my brand new GP that I see one time actually gives me a medication that works better than the other 2 that I've been taking forever. So, yeah, I'm impressed. I like the guy. I really do. And he really listened to Kate, too, who's got a myriad of medical issues. But, again, primary care physicians are what I call the gatekeepers. What they do is they just send you to specialists. But Dr. Kellum jumped in and addressed issues for both of us. And I think we're going to like him a lot, don't you?
I think so too. Let me interrupt for a moment. We have some new
Oh,
people
okay.
have joined us. Bandana Grandma is here.
Oh, Bandana Grandma, good to see you.
Texas Life, hi. Yes, it is a beautiful day today. Lena Music, who makes some beautiful music this side of heaven. Welcome. I'm glad to see you here today.
Speaking of those medications, 3,000%, yes. There was another medication that I've been given, called Dalrest. That's just supposed to help me with, again, with my COPD. And we got it pretty inexpensively.
Got a little better picture?
Well, I guess. No, it's not actually. It's right in my eyes. But
Okay.
anyway, this one cost me like $80 for a 3-month supply through Walmart. But, they put the price, what you'd be paying retail, would have been $1,299. So, yeah, medications can get pretty expensive. Luckily, we're pretty golden on health plans. I'm retired military, and we've got Medicare and TRICARE for life. So whenever doctors and surgeons see us, they open their arms and say, come on in. So
Okay.
drying chili peppers today. That's cool, Farmer Brad. That's great.
Green Raven Laura, yes, our insurance covers everything. Praise God. Alice Gay, welcome. It's good to see you here
Hello,
today.
Tim.
Bandana Grandma, no, it is not Dr. Taro Kellum, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. It's Daniel, and he is awesome.
Tim, it's nice to see you. I look forward to meeting you one
Hi,
day.
Farmer Brad.
I really do.
Let's see, Tim Turner. Oh, good to see you, Tim. I enjoyed yesterday. For those who don't know, I was fortunate enough to get to go to the Good of the Land Fest yesterday. It's up in Temple, about 2 hours from us. And Tim and his family were there, and I spent almost the whole day with him. So it's great to see you again, Tim, and thank you so much. We had a wonderful time. Bandana is taking one medication out of 4 the doctors have prescribed. You can be stubborn, so can I. Farmer Brad, trying to save the seeds to plant next year. I have terrible luck with that, Farmer Brad. I just can't seem to save anything. 3,000% I'm rare. I have an exemption card, so I pay nothing for prescriptions. We don't pay a lot. We pay a small percentage, but it's not bad. Humana. Is one of ours with Humana, honey?
That's our dental plan, I think.
Okay. We really like it. I just couldn't remember what. Sorry about the noise of the birds. They want to be in here.
Apparently, they were in here crawling around the cage earlier this morning when she was setting everything up.
Yeah, they were in here just going crazy.
They get pretty ornery sometimes.
Yes, Farmer Brad, you did send me invited for his live stream. I surprised him. He didn't know I was coming. Also, I'm there every Saturday with him as his sidekick. So let me go do something about the noise. You guys talk to Dave for a minute.
Andy, give it a rest. He is very pushy. He really is. If Kate's not giving him the attention that he wants, he will just go on these screaming jags that you don't want to hear it. But boy, I'll tell you what, it goes on for a long time. He's a pretty pushy bird sometimes. But he's gorgeous and he's got a lot of personality, so I think we'll keep him.
There you go.
Besides his
Now he's on the perch beside us, so hopefully won't be quite so loud.
yeah, maybe he'll be a little quieter.
By the way, look what I got, folks. That is from the Broussard Family Homestead. I won it in a contest. I'm so thrilled to have it.
Tim, to answer your question today, I'm good. I'd like to say thank you. You know what I'm saying thank you for. But
Hi, single man.
was pretty much speechless by your generosity. So thank you. I appreciate it. I'd kind of like to talk about it, but not without your permission. So it's up to you. But I don't see those kinds of blessings in my life very often. And when they do, I have a theory called little victories. It goes back to an old Bob Seger song from years ago. And if you only celebrate the big victories in your life, then you really waste a lot of time. So I tend to celebrate the little victories. And while this is by no means a little victory, I'm very grateful. So I'll let it go at that. So
Thank you for the kind comments on the shirt. Yes, the birds do talk, but only when they want to, and they only say what they want to say. And as far as winter preps, not a whole lot. If I know
Thank
there's
you,
going to
Tim.
be a hard freeze, I'll cover my fruit trees. But other than that, really not much of anything.
To answer Farmer Brad about winter preps we do in Texas, I'll leave that to Kate. Uh, the weather here is much more temperate. I've lived in Nebraska for about 15 years, but about the only thing that we have to do here is the outside plants on the 3 or 4 nights of the year that it might freeze. We either cover them or pull them up on the porch. The trees and everything else that are out there, Kate has some coverings that she throws over them, and we try to anchor them down a little bit so that they'll stay on there. We've lost some trees in the past and some other plants and things of that sort. But by and large, winter preparation here is next to nothing, wouldn't you say?
It really is. I tell people all the time, with the part of Texas we live in, we get 360 days of summer and 5 days of winter every year.
That's about right.
And truly, it is not cold. The coldest it's been in the last few years was last November. We got 14 degrees for about 6 hours one night. Beyond that, it doesn't get cold here. It really doesn't. It's really funny because although I'm a native, I've lived in Nebraska, and I'm not really all that cold natured. But a lot of the folks around here, when the temperature goes below 70, they start putting on hoods and parkas and mittens and stuff like that. So,
hi, Lisa. Good to see you here.
They think it's pretty cold around here.
Ooh, prototyping a solar chicken waterer kit.
Solar chicken water.
That's cool.
All right.
Yeah,
Farmer Brad makes a wonderful chicken watering system that he sells. And it's really, if you have chickens, it is the way to go because it takes almost no effort at all. It keeps the chickens watered without making a huge mess. It's wonderful. Bandana Grandma. Yes, I said mittens. And truly, we really don't use mittens around here much at all. Temperature rarely goes below 50 and usually not below 60. So
3,000%. My COPD triggers. Pretty much any kind of an exertion, just putzing around the house here, going out, and oftentimes just I usually take a rescue inhaler with me when we go out. I can't say there's many things that actually trigger things, but this new medication that I'm taking is improving a lot of the times when I do have issues, I guess. For example, going to sleep at night. Oftentimes I would get pretty wheezy, but this new Trelegy seems to have stopped that by about 90%. So I guess I recommend the medication if you can get your hands on it. But so far, it's been a real kind of a game changer for me for right now, anyway.
Hi, Loma Acres. It's good to see you. And Farmer Brad, you asked what code I would prefer. I'm not sure what you mean by code. If you're saying how cold I would like it to be, anything above 70 is fine with me.
Hello, Loma Acres Homestead. Nice to see you here. And Farmer Brad, Kate's Kitchen. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. We're inside Kate's Kitchen.
Don't forget, please, to click the thumbs up so that we can show YouTube you guys are supporting us. It really helps. Lisa Clark says she's more cold-natured than she used to be. Got to be that because of age and medication. I understand that one, Lisa. I used to not be able to stand anything that was below about 85. Now, I mean above 85, but now I get too cold all the time. Farmer Brad, a code for your subscribers to use on my website. Oh, wonderful idea. Thank you, Farmer Brad. Could we just have the code be kitchen? Would that work?
Or Kate's Kitchen? That's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah, Kate's Kitchen would work. Thank you.
Can you tell us a little more about that system? That's kind of intriguing. I like the idea of that too, Farmer Brad. I'm assuming, obviously, you're just setting up something so that the sunlight focuses on your water supply to keep it thawed even in cold weather. Is that kind of what it comes down to?
Tim, I can believe you can't stand the cold. I really can. You run around barefoot all the time. Of course, I do too inside the house, but if I go out, my feet have got to be covered.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what Tim has done for me, just real briefly.
Hello, Red Shed. Thanks to see you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He has an extra electric wheelchair, and Kate was talking to him yesterday, and he is going to give me that chair. It's totally functional. It's relatively new. Apparently, Tim gets a new one every few years. And the one that he has currently that is excess, they're going to deliver it to us. And I can't understand. I mean, the generosity of it just floors me. It really does. So anyway, I have a new electric wheelchair in my near future, and I have Tim Turner to thank for it. And believe me, Tim, I am very, very grateful. I truly am. It's the blessings have been coming at Kate and I just really hot and heavy lately. In fact, that's not a bad topic for today too.
Okay.
What blessings have you received lately? Because man, I could start a list here that would go on for hours. But what good things have come to you? What little victories, what blessings have you had in your life lately that just kind of stick out a little bit and kind of remind you that people are good, people are kind, and if you hang around long enough, good things happen to you. Tim, I understand that. I have a little trouble getting up myself nowadays.
Celtic Bear, you
Oh, it
say you're
circulates in
fighting
a
for a
cooler.
mobile scooter.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
I'm sorry, do what?
Farmer Brad says he circulates it in a cooler, the water.
Well, he circulates it through bubbles through
Yeah.
the air, and the bubbles go through the
Yeah, the
water.
bubbles keep it. That's very
What
clever.
do you use to heat the air before it goes through the water? Is that what keeps the water from freezing?
And Celtic Bear, are you going through Medicare or some other service to work on getting that scooter? Those things. My understanding is the electric wheelchairs are primarily for in-home use and things of that sort, although some of them are multi-terrain, but the scooters are more suited for outside. So right now I'm just looking for a wheelchair for around the house.
I don't know. Seeing Tim out there zipping around yesterday.
I did. I noticed him yesterday. You were navigating like a son of a gun. Tim.
That thing goes faster than I can run. I just watched him with my mouth open. He's done. That thing is zippy. It really
got a
runs.
turbocharger on it. Huh?
Yeah. Thank you for 14 thumbs up with 15 watching. That's awesome.
Oh, the red shed. Hi there.
Tim says an electric wheelchair is for inside until he gets hold of it.
Oh, okay.
I believe that. I really do.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to have to make some adjustments because that is going to have to end up probably figuring out some way to mount that on the back of the truck and go from place to place. But I'm really looking forward to having a whole different level of mobility with that thing, Tim. So, again, I'm very grateful. Okay, grateful for grocery delivery. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. They
We've
just
done
started
that a
here
couple times.
recently.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yes. Grocery delivery and there's so many meal delivery things now too, you know, the Grubhub and all those others that'll bring a meal right to your door. We're going to end up being, what was the name of that movie? Oh, I can't remember right now. That was an animated
16
movie.
and 17.
An animated movie about how everybody had just kind of, they were in their recliners and there was this little beastie on Earth that was cleaning up trash. What was the name of that movie?
Oh, it was, I don't remember now either. Sorry.
But anyway, everybody had gotten so obese and lazy that they weren't moving. And that's kind of where we're headed.
One of the blessings I've been really impressed with is because of David's
Thank you,
new
Kim.
standing with the VA, I now qualify as his spouse for some educational programs. And we're starting to look into that, and we're very, very excited. I may be able to become a master gardener or a master canner or any number of other things like that. And that really excites me too. So that's a blessing for me, other than the blessing through David or for David. That makes my life a lot easier too. It really does. And the one thing I want Tim to learn to do so he can teach David's chair to do it, and that's to climb stairs.
Well, I tell you what, one of the other things about the VA declared me 100% disabled finally last August. And since then, I've been learning a lot about what's available to a vet who is 100% disabled. One of the things that we probably qualify for is to have some construction modifications made to our house. And one of the things that I really, really, really want is only have one door that I can use reliably to get in and out of the house. And according to VA, that's unacceptable. So
And it's got steps.
Yeah, and it's
It
got
doesn't
stairs.
have a ramp.
Now, our bedroom, which was here immediately to my left, is the largest room in the house. That's where the birds are. But on the back there, there's a space in the wall that is large enough for a big double door. And that's what I want to have put in, going out to a small deck where I can at least navigate out there in a wheelchair, and then, of course, have ramps to go down to the yard. But the other benefit that we'll get from that is we'll be able to wheel our bird cages outside and let them have some outside time, and also be able to wash down the cages and keep them cleaner. It's
Clean
very
the floor
difficult.
underneath them better.
It's very difficult to keep these cages as clean as we'd like indoors, where you can't take them out and really hose them down.
Right.
Because macaws are messy. That's all there is to it. So we hopefully will qualify for, I don't know, $50,000 or $60,000 worth of home repairs and upgrades and modifications to upgrade our home so that it is more ADA accessible, handicapped accessible, things of that sort. So we're looking forward to that too. So I guess once you become totally disabled, which is a bummer, there is some upside to it, because these programs that I now qualify for are not going to just help me, but they're going to help Kate too, because there
Yes,
are
they are.
survivor benefits that she will be able to take advantage of, because chances are good I'll kick it before she does. But anyway, blessings have just been coming our way in abundance of late. And I don't know, do I want to talk about the TV set?
Wait a minute. 3,000% says grocery delivery is a modern marvel. 3,000% here in Texas, back in the 1920s, grocery deliveries was pretty normal. Very few people actually went to the store. The grocers hired runners that delivered to the store. So for us, it's sort of a turn back to what used to be. Also, Tim, you say going upstairs is hard, but going downstairs is fun. I hope you have a seatbelt for that chair when you go down the stairs.
Lisa, are you looking for Social Security disability? Is that what you're after? Or what sort of disability declaration are you looking for? Yeah, me too, Celtic Bear. I worry about those things.
Laura says, shoot for a wide bathroom door and a roll-in shower. For you and
Yes.
I take the birds into our walk-in shower now, so I know how that goes.
That's one of the things that I would like to have done, is to upgrade our bathroom, because we have this huge garden tub over in the corner that's useless, and I want to take that space and turn that into a walk-in or roll-in shower or tub. So yeah, I have some plans. I just
Me too, Lisa.
I'm not sure how they have to be carried out, or what sort of contractors you have to use, or any of that stuff. So
3,000%. I'm glad you learned something else from me, but you're learning because I'm old. These things I heard about from my mom. And actually, they did deliver some things to the house when I was a child. So, of course, I was a child in the 1950s. So it's been a long while, and I did that.
Lisa, I see you going for a Social Security
did the
disability.
link go
Kate has
through?
that too.
Farmer Brad, I have not seen a link yet. I'm sorry.
Let me scroll back up real quick here just for a second. I'll see
Okay.
if I can find it.
Lisa, I went on to Social Security disability when I was 59 because of my cancer and the chemo, and the fact that the chemo gave me what's called chemo brain, when I couldn't think or hold thoughts in my head at all. And it turned out that because of various problems with the chemo and the cancer, I couldn't hold a job anymore. I couldn't think to hold the job. So I went on the disability, and the only thing it did for me was it allowed me to get Social Security at full benefit before I became 65. I hope you have better luck than that, but at least that allowed me to have an income when I couldn't work. So I can't complain.
So
Farmer
man,
Brad,
that's a real kindness there, that everybody takes care of you.
Farmer,
It takes a community anymore. It really does.
Farmer Red said he set up the promo code of Kate's Kitchen.
And it'll save $3 off each new Farmer Brad chicken waterer. Well, if I had chickens, I'd buy one. My gosh, Celtic disability when you were 20 years old?
My goodness, that was awfully young to go on disability.
Wow. Well, I know dealing with disabilities is tough, but Sometimes it
man.
brings out the better side of us too.
Single man, you're right. I do similar to that. My former brother-in-law lives on the property that we live on. And if I know I'm going to the store, I stop in on my way down the driveway to see if he needs anything, and he does the same thing for us. So it is a blessing to have people you're close to that you can do for and that will do for you as well. I agree. Let's see.
Family 136, is that? Here we go. Thank you, Celtic Bear.
Tim Turner says you
Jeff
have to be
Long
almost
Rich.
rich to be handicapped or to figure out how to build it yourself.
That's very true. Very
Yes,
true.
it is. Yes.
By the way, I wanted to tell you, Tim, I know you have MS, and one of the best friends I've ever had in my life, and a mentor and a guy that I respect. I once told him, I said, there's only two people that I would storm the gates of hell with, my father and this gentleman named Brian Vaughn. And he has MS, and he was in SWCC in the Navy. And if you don't know what SWCC is, whenever the SEAL teams got in trouble, they called SWCC. And he was with them for years, and then he became a police officer in Pensacola, Florida. Spent years doing that, and then contracted MS, was out of a job, and I ended up meeting him through the Florida Commission on Disabilities, which he was the executive director of for a while, and I was working for him. Finer man I've never met, and he's still fighting his MS too. And I have not been in touch with him for a while. Shame on me.
You've got something on the wall back there.
I think
It's coming from outside, and that's Gandy's tail that you see in the shadow right there.
it must be something that's reflecting off the porch. Anyway,
Hello, Lisa Johnson. I'm glad you're here and lurking. Yes, single man lurkers are welcome. Farmer Brad, you say you have to go and clean out the chicken coop. That's the next thing you need to invent, Farmer Brad, is
There you
something
go.
that cleans the chicken
you
coop.
need a solar chicken coop cleaner.
Yes, thank you
that
for coming,
sweeps through.
and thank you for setting up Kate's Kitchen for my viewers to get 10% off. I appreciate that, and we will start telling people. Yeah, that's great. One day maybe we'll get to have chickens.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to the idea.
But first I want rabbits.
Well, we just have to figure out a way to make sure that the coyotes don't get them. That's all.
They're inside wire cages.
Well, wire cages don't always stop coyotes.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll figure it out. No need to clean up the poop.
Chicken tractors are great.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, you go pull them around on the yard.
Yeah,
I've heard of those.
yeah. That's we know a guy here locally that kind of moves his pen around, and it
Not only does it solve the poop problem, it
Helps
fertilizes the grass,
Yep.
and it gets rid of the bugs, and they dig up the grass so you can have a garden wherever they've been for a while. No cleaning poop with COPD. That means I get to do it.
that's my greatest regret about being disabled at this point is that I am of very little assistance to Kate around the house anymore. Unless I can do it sitting down, or unless it is just taking something from point A to point B, I can't even stand up long enough now to like do dishes or help with dinner or anything. I try not to abuse my privileges, but Kate takes very good care of me. Believe me, very good care.
Well,
I'm a very fortunate man. That's no doubt about that.
there is such a thing as in sickness and health, for better or worse. And I did claim that. I promised that. And that's what I meant when I said it. Wonder if quail would work okay for you? Probably.
You mean to keep quail?
Probably, but the quail are so small. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. Green Raven says because you need the mask because of dust and dry bacteria.
Yeah, that's
I would
probably
probably
true.
use a mask anyway. I use a mask when I work in the yard, so I would probably use it for that too.
What? You
You have rabbit tractors as well, Lisa Johnson? That's a neat idea. Lisa Clark, you are right. She says it's difficult to do things when you're critically ill. I had that problem when I was down with fighting my cancer, and you're right. It is very difficult. And single man, you're right.
I'm a very fortunate man.
And we are very rich people. We truly are. We're just so blessed with so many wonderful friends and family. The Lord just keeps blessing us.
One of the things that I've been wanting for quite some time has been a new TV. We have I'd call it a semi-smart TV already, but you have to jump through a lot of hoops to get everything to work right. And I've never really made all the effort. So finally went out and next Tuesday, they're coming by to install it and set it up. But I'll have everything basically all in one place. I've got bought one that has what they call the Roku operating system. And I'll be able to tie in all of our services, Netflix and Amazon and Pandora, be able to broadcast from my computer if I want to, or even from phones or tablets. And in fact, should be even able to set up a remote that I'll be able to put on one of my tablets, and I'll use that to control everything. So
Single
I'm
man
looking
TV.
forward to that.
Single man TV is something that us old disabled people do a lot of.
Video editing is very important. You know,
Yeah.
I end up
You're
doing the
right.
video editing for Kate's videos. Good, bad, or indifferent, it's the best I can do. So, what is TV? Yeah, okay.
Celtic
It's
Bear
what
got
you
his
spend a
for
lot of time with when you're
$100.
old. What?
Celtic Bear got his at Best Buy for $100.
Ah, cool. Now, was that just for the Roku Celtic Bear, just to set it up and get your remote and all the gear that goes with it? Because this one's built in. Roku is built in. It's supposed to even have a Roku remote, and then you download an app that you can literally put on your tablet or phone, and you can use that. And this particular model has even got a feature for voice activation. So I should be able to say, find me action movies, and it'll go off and find them.
Lisa, when I was a kid,
I do too, Lisa.
my dad worked for the local radio station, and the people that owned the radio station decided they wanted to get into TV as well. So my dad helped build the station. He helped buy the equipment, and he was the first news anchor on the first television station in Corpus Christi, Texas. So I can remember when there was only one station or none.
Green Raven, I've seen several movies like that. In fact, oddly enough, you all may or may not know it, we had to have our air conditioner replaced about the first of this month. And another modern innovation with this air conditioning system was a remote control that we can mess with from our phones. But if we wanted to, we could set up our entire smart house. I mean, locks. What else was there on there where we could control the locks, the lights?
It
We can-
monitors the water heater
Yeah,
to be sure it doesn't.
There's a monitor where we have our water heaters in a cabinet outside but walled in on the house, and it'll monitor that to make sure there's no moisture. It monitors the drain pipe outside to make sure it's not stopped up. It's amazing the things that technology can bring to us.
Casey,
Okay.
what's interesting about your comment, you say, I'm like the host to my own worldwide talk show. We've been talking about using a new format that would allow us to have guests join us on the show.
Yeah.
We haven't done it yet, but we're thinking about it. So
It's an application, or it's a service that doesn't run on your system. You log into it on their servers, excuse me, and then you broadcast from there. But you can also have guests where you log in where they can have a piece of your screen. So we sit here and we could have like Lisa could be on one corner of the screen and us on the other, and
Tim,
you can have
whatever.
3 or 4 guests on screen on your program all at one time. I haven't looked into it real deeply. There's a free version and then there's a paid version. The paid version's got a lot more options to it, and but I'm still looking at it, and I'm still thinking very seriously about it. If this particular format goes over as well as we hope it will, I may end up using that. It's the next step. I'll put it that way. It goes beyond just broadcasting through YouTube by going to this independent service that you have a lot more options. Okay.
Texas Life. My dad's name was Chuck Pratt. And like I said, he was the first news anchor, and if you were around during the Kennedy assassination, he covered it live from the time it happened until the end of the funeral. He was there the whole time. So that's his name and what was going on.
Casey, that's very true. It makes no difference where they are. They can log into that server. They can be on your screen. It's
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
I'll maybe do a little research on it. Maybe talk about it a little bit more next week.
Single Man and 3000% both say that they prefer watching YouTube instead of live TV. We check the listings on TV, and if there's something we want to watch, we record it on our, what's it called?
The DVR.
Thank you, on our DVR, and then play it back later. We don't have to watch the commercials. We don't have to watch all of that stuff. We just watch what we want. So
Roku has something like, talking about their movies, they have something like 500,000 titles. Not all movies, there's some series and things of that sort, but I think Roku is going to be the emerging technology that's going to take over that side of the streaming service.
it's the Amazon of this system.
Well, it's a very simple process to get Roku now on a smart TV. Now there are other I mean, I did a lot of research before I bought this TV, folks. But Roku came out the winner as far as the operating system I wanted. Okay, so let's see. But about the people from four corners of the globe, that's absolutely true, KC. I think that particular service is probably one we may end up using. It does change how you broadcast. You have to send an invitation so that people know where to go. It's not like you can just log on to YouTube and boom, there it is. So there are some things that I'm still researching to figure out how well it's going to work.
Well, as far as the invitation, you just have to have their email and then you send them one, right?
Something like that.
And
But
they follow the link and sign in.
But, in your case, darling, that means over 1,500 invites.
Only one or two at a time.
Well, either that or everybody with one. But in any case, I've not looked into it completely, but I do know that there are some factors involved that's why I haven't gotten into it yet. Okay, I'm talking too much. Do your show.
No, you're not talking too much. Keep going. I'm answering questions too. 3000% says use a contact list and send it to everyone.
Well, Celtic Bear, once I get everything set up on this new set, I may very well do that. May very well dump our cable TV. I mean, we use DirecTV, and then we have AT&T for our internet. We're supposed to get fiber internet in our area sometime soon. They keep telling me that. But if and when they do, I will definitely jump on the fiber internet. And at that point, then I could probably do away with AT&T and DirecTV and just go with streaming and things of that sort. What do you want?
You be quiet.
He wants to come sit on your shoulder, sweetie.
He wants to come sit on my shoulder. You're right. Let me see if I can get him quiet down that way.
Yeah, 3,000%. You're right. I've given some thought to how the invitation process would work, but yes, it would mean a message to every potential viewer so that they would know with the link, so that they would know just where to go.
Good boy. No.
Yes. I think Two Family Homestead. God, that guy he's a technological genius. But that's what he did. He ran. I kind of know him fairly well, but he ran a whole server farm, and the guy's hardware knowledge is unbeatable. And yes, but he uses a different system. He's got several applications that he runs on his own servers that allows people to come in and be on screen with him. But I can't hold a candle to that guy technologically. I mean, that guy's a genius. Really is. I watched him for a long time. I catch their videos their live streams every now and then until his Tuesday night one is usually on questions about just technology. And the guy just knows
Welcome
everything.
back, Celtic.
What I don't know about it.
Single Man, I know a lot of people that don't do a lot of technology. I happen to be blessed with a husband who enjoys technology, and I enjoy technology. So between the two of us, we're probably more technologically savvy than a lot of people our age.
Well, you have to remember, Single Man, that when I first went on the internet, there were less than 10,000 websites in the whole world. And I had to get on with what was called a 14.4 modem. So we were moving at 14.4 baud. Didn't even call it, wasn't even kilobits per second. It was strictly text. You had, if you wanted to broadcast an image, just a little snapshot would probably take 30 minutes to load onto a screen. And even after I went through 14.4, and then there was 28.8, and then 56, and it's gone up since. And at every junction where service has improved, I've tried to jump on. But I've been around the internet since it was, and Kate too. But I've been around the internet since it was just a baby.
And I was using the internet through the University of Texas in Austin before they had what was now termed websites. It was all text, and it was only used to transfer research information from one university to another.
Boy, hello there, people.
So,
what you doing?
It was a very different
You're a
thing
big
now.
fella. Yeah.
56 comes to mind.
No.
What? 3,000%?
56K. Yeah, that was you were really rocking if you had a 56K modem.
I can remember when we had to format our own discs.
Yes.
Our discs were floppy. They were a hard 8.5-inch square disc, and it took an hour and a half to put a format on there so you could use them.
You had what was called an IP stack. You had to have this IP stack was the internet protocol, and that's what allowed you to communicate with whoever had the modem.
Right.
And then whenever you hooked up with the modem, you get those very, very irritating signals back and forth between your modem and their end. And then if you connected, you got on, but if not, you were just out of luck, I'd dial back. But
Sorry
yeah, I've
about-
been around for a long time.
Sorry about the noise here, guys. He wants to
The
play.
Hive and
He
the
does not
Homestead.
like to
Hi
share
there.
me.
Hello, Hive and Homestead. Celtic,
I
you were
didn't see you
buffering
come
back
in.
now.
Hi.
Good deal.
You had a Commodore 64? I did too.
I had a VIC 20. Now that predated the Commodore 64 by
Yes,
at
it
least
did.
a couple of years.
Yes, it
I got that in 1973. That was how I learned to do basic programming. I had to use a little cassette deck and a little tiny TV and keyboard. Now get this, that VIC 20 had 3K of memory, and I thought I was rocking it. I really did. So that's
Hi,
how far
Happy.
back I go.
Thank you for coming. Being late is not a problem. I've got to get in touch with Kay. I went to the Good of the Land Fest yesterday, and I was just not up to signing on to visit with her today. And thank you for telling me, and I will try and reach her by email later today.
Yeah, 3,000%. The first Apple I got was one of the original Macs with the little 12-inch screen. Yeah, I've been through just about all of them. I really have. I've played with technology for as long as it's been around in this era.
And I started off with the Commodore 64. I had what they called a hard drive, and I had two of them linked in tandem, and I ran a large electronics repair shop using that computer. I stored all of our records, did our ordering, did our taxes and everything on that computer. So that was a long time ago and a lot of work.
Yeah, I remember the Apple II and the Apple IIc, all that stuff, 3,000%, yeah. But I've never been a fan of Apple. But
Hi,
I
Abiding Acres.
did get that Mac, and that was a long time ago.
Oh, Hive and Homestead had a Tandy that connected to the TV along with the floppy and cassettes.
I did not have the skill to put that together. Because if you got a Tandy, you probably got it from Radio Shack. And that was back in the days when you had to kind of build your own motherboard. I've done that, but I couldn't do it back then.
Lynx Akers, hi.
Hi,
Glad you
Lynx
could join
Akers.
us.
Good to see you. Yeah, one of these days we'll just have to get together some of these old timers and talk about technology that we've been through. Because it's fascinating. I mean, I was writing articles back in 93 and 94 where I predicted, and I'm kidding you not, I predicted that one day we would be able to buy cars via the internet and grocery shop and buy jewelry and all those things. And this was in 1993 and 94 when it was still just in its infancy. So yeah, I was a bit of a prophet. Okay.
Length Acres, I'm doing very well. Dave is doing better than normal today, too. So thank you
well.
for asking. And I hope you're okay.
See, I got Kate back early. She came. She was going to stay at the meetup up there and come back today, but she kind of saw everything she wanted to see yesterday, so she came home yesterday evening.
Right.
So I didn't even have to spend one night alone in my bed.
And he didn't have to make his own coffee
I
this
didn't have to
morning.
make my own coffee.
That's one thing I really enjoy. When he and I got married, I bring him his coffee every morning in bed and wake him up to let him know his coffee's ready for him. Single man has a Commodore 64 that's still in the box.
Oh my God! You know that thing's probably pretty valuable, single man. If that thing is still in mint condition, there are places that would. And you know what? People have been bringing back Commodore 64s for the game system because some of those Commodores had dual processors, and they don't make those anymore. So those things have been really kick butt game systems.
I'm sorry, Casey, I don't watch rugby at all. I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
much
command
of a
line
sport
DOS.
fan.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, that's we're getting back into the old days now. We really are. See, I was a programmer. I went through programming school after I got out of the medical field, and I became what was called a configuration manager, which at that time I didn't even know what it meant. But I was working for Space Command, and I programmed. Yeah, those old computer games were pretty good. They can't hold a bear to some, or hold a candle to some of the stuff nowadays, but they were great.
My youngest daughter was writing games on the Commodore 64 at the age of 9. And she just absolutely loved it. And she was a little too intelligent for me. She went up to the 8th grade when she was still in kindergarten. We were in a private school, and she had a teacher that asked to be able to teach her at her own rate. And so I agreed, and the woman took her from kindergarten to the 8th grade in 1 year. And the child understood it. She just absorbed it. It was amazing.
Casey, no, at least I have not watched the Rugby Cup, but that's a rough game. That's a rough game.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Oh, Lisa, a friend of mine had Pong and Frogger both that you hooked up to the TV to play. Cross Country Canada, I did not see.
Digging out their old computer games.
Yeah,
Pong, yeah.
Farming Our Backyard, had Oregon Trail. That's one my daughter really enjoyed playing. At that time, I was working 2 jobs and trying to raise 2 girls, so I didn't have time for computer games back then.
Yeah, we have more memory and computing power on our phones now than what took us to the moon. That's kind of incredible when you think about it, you know what? Yeah, I've heard about some of those sites, Lynx Acres, where you can go back and dig out some of those old vintage computer games. I never was a gamer. I get my son Josh was. In fact, he broke his hand playing computer games one time. He got really ticked off when he lost, and he hit his bedstead and broke 2 bones in his hand.
Happy, I'm trying to talk my mother into going to a dumb phone. She's 90, and she has the latest smartphone from Samsung, and it constantly just frustrates her to death because she doesn't understand how to use it. I keep telling her she needs to go to one that's more age appropriate.
Boy, there's a blast of the past too. The Altair computers. That was the first portable. That was first PC, or well, I wouldn't call it a laptop, but you could carry it around. It was like in a briefcase, if I remember right. That Altair was a great setup. Number Munchers. I've never heard of that one.
I haven't either.
Huh. Lynx Acres sounds like you're a bit of a gamer.
And I play solitaire and mahjong, and that's about it. I play both of those or either of those all the time.
Yeah, those cricket phones are great for people that are just technologically not really where they ought to be. But
yeah, you're a good
Kate's
boy.
mom she's adamant about the phone that she's got, but she can't use it. Kate has to go over there about every 2 months and show her how to do things like delete messages. And she's given her, written instructions on all the basics. She still can't get it, but hey, she's 90 years old, so. Yes, single man, that's true too. You know, remember the days when we used to pay for long distance? When I was up in the Aleutian Islands, my then wife was in Arizona, and a 10-minute phone call to call her back in Arizona would cost me $26. Well, back in those days, $26 was a lot of money because I had to pay for it there. And so nowadays, you can call anywhere in the world with your cell phone for nothing. Yep. The smarter these phones become, the more we need to charge them. Yep. Yeah. If there's ever an EMP bomb that just wipes out everything, if I was going to invade Earth, that's what I'd do. I would have a huge EMP bomb and just paralyze the entire planet by taking out the electricity.
I don't ever even want to think about that. I'm so not ready for that. I mean, I've got plenty of food and I've got a way to cook. And by the way, my solar oven is on its way. It should be here tomorrow.
Oh,
I got
good
an
deal.
email today. So I'll be able to cook, but I don't know about anything else. I have candles for a few weeks, but after that, I'd be up the creek for that too. So I don't want an EMP to come along.
Yeah, an EMP worldwide would put us back 150 years overnight. Most of our cars that stopped working, the only ones that worked be pre-19, about 1970, when they had generators
I was
and
going to say
alternators,
68.
something like that, before they ever had electronic ignition. Unlimited Canada-wide calling. Okay, that's cool.
Farming our backyard. Texas has sun more than it doesn't have sun. So I have a feeling I'm going to be able to cook almost any day of the week.
You're right, Casey. I don't give that a lot of thought, but when you see certain movies about the aliens invading the world, they got it all wrong. All they need to do is just broadcast an electromagnetic pulse, and we'd all be on our knees in a heartbeat. Okay, solar oven. Yeah, Kate's going to get hers tomorrow, maybe.
That's what the email said. The tracking said that it would be here tomorrow.
Well, we'll probably
before 10 p.m. So it'll probably be here at 9:35.
Let's see, tomorrow's Monday.
That's all right.
I figure by Tuesday night we'll be eating something that's been cooked in the solar oven.
Probably. Link Lakers, go get that little one to bed. That's important. She's a sweetheart and she needs her rest. An EMP wouldn't bother your old Harley then. Oh, you've got an old Harley.
Yeah. If it doesn't have electronic ignition, it'll still run.
Celtic Bear, you're going to restore a 1970 Beetle?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I had one of those at one time.
I had a 63 Volkswagen when I was over in Spain the first time. That thing was nothing but a headache. Nothing but a headache.
Lisa, I'm sorry you don't get enough sun to use your solar oven. I'm really looking forward to mine.
Lisa, forgive me, where are you that you don't get that much sun, if I may ask?
I watch Doug and Stacy, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, and she uses hers all the time. It amazes me how much she uses hers. 3,000%. A Faraday
cages. You're right. Faraday cages would be the only protection.
Lisa's in Northwest Ohio.
Okay. I used to work in what they call a SCIF, or a secure computing facility, when I was doing classified communications work a long time ago, and there was actually copper in the walls, and so the whole place. And this was a room probably, I don't know, maybe 8,000 square feet, broken up, and that there were copper lines in the walls, and the whole thing was a Faraday cage.
Would it work to line the ceiling with aluminum foil?
Sure. Yep.
Oh, farming our backyard. You and Lisa need to get together. It sounds like you're in the same neighborhood.
Hey, knock it off.
Andy, that's enough. That is enough.
You're not being ignored. He does that when he gets ignored. That's his pay attention to me holler.
Yes. My brother's new house and barn has a natural Faraday cage. What is that?
Huh.
A tinfoil hat. That's it, Celtic Bear. I'm going to start wearing tinfoil hat.
Mine's in the bedroom. My tinfoil hat's in the bedroom. I just don't wear it very much. Hey, you be nice.
No, he's not biting. He wasn't biting.
Nobody's being ornery.
Well, yeah, he's always ornery. That's just the way he is. You being ugly. You being ugly to Mama.
He's just being very needy right now.
I think I'm going to have to go put you in your cage. I'll be right back.
I'll tell you what, living with 3 large macaws
Yeah.
is very interesting. It really is.
been noisy, you need to go in here.
Best way I can put it. It's just very interesting.
You make too much noise.
Yeah, he does. Gandhi is what's called a Maui sunrise, and he's actually a hybrid of a hybrid. And his colors are just gorgeous, just gorgeous.
And he is absolutely spoiled rotten, and I did it, and I'm proud of it.
The way it was constructed made it into a Faraday cage. That's cool. Yeah.
When it was constructed.
Yeah, they are. They're big children. You know, our guys here all have roughly the intelligence and the attitudes and the behaviors of about a 3-year-old kid. And they hold grudges. They get mad. They'll complain. They can be very grateful and very loving, but they can also be quite demanding. So just like a 3-year-old.
Single man, I agree with you. I'm old enough to be her mom too. So I know it is. I'm 70, he's 72. So we feel old some days. No, I've never read Alex and Me, the parrot book.
I did.
Did you?
A long time ago. Long time ago.
I just got birds and started loving them.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I used to raise small cage birds. I raised a lot of parakeets and canaries and zebra finches.
Yeah, I started out with small birds, lynx acres, years and years and years ago, you know, little cockatiels. And I kind of got my first macaw just dropped on me. It was a bird sitting job. And I was supposed to have him for 2 weeks. That was Kareem. And by the time the lady got back, it was pretty obvious I wasn't going to give him up.
Allie,
So
I didn't even see you come in. Hello.
Finches are great little caged birds. I love the sound of little caged birds. You know, if you got a half a dozen canaries that, you know, they're perfectly content to just live in a cage all by themselves. If you got enough room for them to fly around, that's great. But the sounds that they bring to a house are just so happy. It's impossible to be in a bad mood in a house with caged birds that sing. It really is.
Lynx Acres, you have enough with your child. You don't need pets as well.
Yeah.
Our pets are like small children, believe me. Anyway, I raised small cage birds when I was a child and never ever had any thoughts of having large birds. And when David and I got together and got married, he had the 2.
Hey,
Dandy,
Dandy, give it a rest.
That's enough. I'm going to put you to bed.
Give it a rest. You're going to get covered up.
I'm going to have to go cover
And
him. I'll be back.
that was Kareem
Talk
over
to him.
there.
I know, but Andy's making noise too.
All 3 of our birds have, I guess, what you'd call a distinctive scream. At least I can usually recognize the difference. And boy, when they get irritated, they do let go. You don't hear it at full volume here through the microphone, but I used to take Kareem Dollar out for outreach back in Tallahassee. And I'd be driving through Tallahassee. I'd have Bravo on this shoulder and Kareem on this shoulder. We'd come up to a stoplight or something, and there'd be somebody next to us. Of course, they'd see the birds, and then Kareem and Bravo would both say, hello, hello. And then they would often scream. Well, when they scream and they're sitting on your shoulders, and this is roughly 130 decibels, my ears would ring for an hour. They really would. So, well, Lynx Acres, to be honest with you, I wouldn't know how to live without pets. I've had pets all my life. It's been very, very short periods of time when I've not had animals in my life. That's all there is to it. And I make a deal with them. When I bring one into the house, my pledge to them is to give them all the care and attention and medical care and everything else that they need in return for their companionship. And that's the deal. Okay, let's see. Farming our backyard, take a nap. Yeah, there you go. I may take a nap today myself. Actually, Kate may take a nap. She's had a rough couple of days. That trip up there and back was, it wasn't all that long. What, about a 2.5 hour drive?
About a 2-hour drive.
But, you know, it's, then she had her time there. And she was out of here at, 5:30 in the morning yesterday.
I left,
and
right
then
at 5:30.
and got back here around 7 o'clock last night. She passed out in her recliner last night for a few hours.
Yeah. I sat down to watch a little TV and relax, and the next thing you know, it's waking up.
And a good evening to you too, KC Detox Diva. Oh yeah.
I'll
When
talk
his-
like
when his
Xavier and
cat
say,
died,
how are
I-
you, bees?
I can understand that, single man. You have no idea the kind of attachment that you get with a companion bird. And I'm not talking a little parakeet or something like that. Although I was pretty broken up when one of my cockatiels died. But these guys here, Kate and I have to make arrangements in our wills for these guys to be taken care of because they'll outlive us both.
Yeah.
You know,
By a long time.
with good care, a blue and gold macaw can live 80 to 100 years. Well, right now, Karib is about 25.
Is he
I
that
think-
old? I
yeah,
think
I
he's
think
closer
so.
to 21.
Well, I was thinking the other day, I got him in 2001 and he was already 6.
Okay.
So give or take 25. And Bravo is probably about 15. And I think, oh, you covered him up, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. All of them.
And I think Gandhi over here is more like maybe 7 or 8. So obviously they'll outlive us. But anyway, Lisa, I'm sorry to hear you're not Crohn's flare up. Boy, I feel for you, lady. I do.
I do too. I have an IBSD. And that's not fun either. I think I'm going to have to go turn the lights off on top of them as well to get them to quiet down.
Okay. Well, I don't think you're going to shut him up, to be honest with you. He knows you're in here. He's not going to quiet down until you either leave the room or take him out. I got to admit, Gandhi is the most demanding. He really is. He's the pushiest of the group.
No scream.
Okay, well, Lisa, I'm sorry you're not feeling well. Okay, Food Forest Permaculture is having a live stream later today.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Is Howie here? Oh, there. Leaks is saying, yes, he is. I'm real excited about it. It's at 2 p.m. Pacific, so that makes it around 4:30 or 5 here.
Well, if it's 2 p.m., it'll be 4 p.m. here, yeah.
4 p.m., yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see his. It's been a while since Howie's done a live stream, and I'm glad to see it. I'm fortunate in that my IBS is not as bad as it could be. It's uncomfortable, it's inconvenient, it can be embarrassing, but I could have it a lot worse. That's all I can say. It's just I'm going to count my blessings. If I have to have something like that, at least what I've got is not really awful. So,
It could be worse. You're right.
pardon?
It could be worse.
Yes, it could be.
So well, I'm not a clock watcher, sweetheart, but we've been on a little over an hour. Is that okay with you?
It's fine with me. If these
Okay,
guys want to stay on, that's fine.
Anybody want to go home?
Y'all want to shut it down?
Should
we
we
can.
sign off now?
We did say, what do you want to talk about? So,
Yeah. Which, obviously we've got some folks here that have some deep roots in technology.
mhm.
Now, granted,
Casey says they're all home already.
yeah,
You're right. Trade you IBS for my diabetes. Celtic Bear, I had diabetes. Thank you. I don't have it anymore because I had gastric bypass and that cured it. But I understand about diabetes, and my mom's diabetic. So,
and John, that is a great truism right there about someone who has it worse than you. One of my great prayers always is that I know that no matter what happens to me, there are those out there who are living with issues far greater than mine. So I'm grateful for where I am, regardless of where that might be, because it can always be worse, always.
in Lakes Acres, physical therapy of almost any kind can be helpful.
Oh, okay.
And I wish they'd been around when I had my kids, but my kids are 40 years old, so I don't know that there were therapists of that kind when I had my kids. But then again, I'm not sure that I needed it. My doctor told me long time ago that I was built for having babies. So I hope that it helps you, and I hope that you get past whatever the problem is. I truly do. Women often get bowels and bladder issues after birth. Wish everyone could see one. Yes, yes, they do.
You know, bottom line, women have it a lot rougher than men. Truly. I mean, I've never been one to, say, oh, big, strong man. I mean, if I had to put up with some of the things that a woman has to put up with, it'd probably kill me. I just,
But we're the
I
weaker
think,
sex.
no. I've always believed that women are the stronger of the two sexes simply because the women send the men off to fight. That right there makes you all stronger than us.
Because we take over what
Because,
y'all leave.
well, how much courage does it take to send someone out
Oh, I know.
to a fate that they have no idea or control over? It's kind of like a military commander that sends his troops out to die. The day before they do a passing review, and he can look out over that group and say, okay, 20 or 30 or 50% of these people are going to be dead tomorrow. What that must feel like, I can't imagine. But anyway.
I can't either. Length acres, you're
No,
correct. Menstrual periods are a problem for some women.
I got to admit that's probably one of the things that would change
Happy
my
says,
life.
but when the woman that ate the apple.
You know why? Don't you know why? Because they did not read the Apple terms and agreements. If they'd have read the terms and conditions of that Apple, but see, people don't read directions. They don't read user manuals. So that's why we got screwed way back in the day.
To be honest, I personally think that there is no stronger or weaker of the sexes. Women have some strengths and weaknesses. They're offset by strengths and weaknesses from the men. If you find the right man or woman to be in your life, your strengths help offset her weaknesses and vice versa. Her strengths offset yours. And you make a good partnership, and you can handle just about anything that way.
I can't argue with that. It's great. Our society says one should run. Now, I'll tell you what. It's another area where we screwed up years ago. We really should have a matriarchal society. Matriarchal societies are much more peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Where war and conflict, now granted, supposedly we're all bred to fight. Well, I don't agree with that. But,
Single man, I disagree.
That's
I'm
why
a woman and
snakes.
I don't hate snakes. I used to delight when I was a younger woman. I had a friend who sold snakes.
She used to play with coral snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I had a friend who sold snakes in an outdoor flea market type thing, and I would go, and he had a 7-foot boa whose name was Daisy. And Daisy and I would go. I had very long hair at the time, and I'd go and put her around my shoulders, and she'd hide in my hair and peek out from between my hair and watch the people go by. Used to really freak folks out, but I loved them. I really liked her.
Casey makes you a lot like me. I don't like snakes either. I might not kill a garden variety snake, but down here, you got copperheads, you got rattlers, you got sidewinders, you got just all kinds of really nasty snakes. So I don't take any chances. Haven't had to kill one, but about 3 years ago, the best dog I've ever had got nailed in the throat by a rattlesnake and killed her within minutes. So I've got no love for snakes, none at all. I'll kill them.
Well, I certainly respect venomous snakes, but I can't say that I hate snakes. I really can't.
Well, I tell you, there's other animals out there that I got a lot more antipathy toward. I mean, why did God make fire ants?
Really?
That one's got me going. Fire ants are just lethal. And there's several other critters that I wonder if God was just playing a joke on us.
Lynxacre says they don't really have venomous snakes in Canada.
That's really, there's a few places like that, but you're very fortunate. You really are. But, up there in Canada, you've got other critters that are almost as dangerous.
We don't have mosquitoes.
You don't have mosquitoes either?
We have fighter planes that come and get our blood.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Texas mosquitoes are
huge.
Yeah, they are. Okay, let's see. 10 minutes after. What do you think, darling?
Probably ought to let these folks get back to their
real lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I think well, you go ahead and bye. I'll just say goodbye. I'll let her sign off. So
Guys, we've really, really enjoyed having you here today. I'm so glad that you joined us. I'm glad that you had lots to say, and we both enjoyed visiting with you.
I hope I'm not monopolizing this, by the way.
I don't think so. They all want to talk to you just as much as they want to talk to me
But it's not inside.
and to each other.
It's not inside Dave's kitchen. So
But we're not in the kitchen either. So you guys be.
Lisa, I agree with the fire answer. The worst invention that God ever made.
You guys take care. We love you. It's good to see you, and I hope to see you again next week when Dave and I will again ask, what do you want to talk about today?
Yep, single man, I got some questions for God too. So
Bye.
take care, y'all.